Hello, beautiful and magnificent beings. Welcome to Energy and Light Awakening. Today's video is about hair loss and recovery. And I know some of you have been waiting a really long time for this video, but I wanted to be able to offer you more than just the Reiki session. And I was in a position to do that, but I needed to do some research and experimentation. So for the last couple of years, or several years, more than a couple, I have been recovering from hair loss. And if you have been with this channel for a while, you'll know that the water where I live is toxic, and it had put me in the hospital a couple times because there was a problem with my water filtration system, and it made me very sick. But it didn't stop there. Twice it has made me lose hair. The first time was really bad. And that was before I started my channel. But just by showering in that water hitting the top of my head, it started to make my hair not only fall out, but it dried it up so bad that it started breaking off. And normally when we have something that has happened to our hair, some type of damage, normally we just cut it off and start over. And of course there's nothing wrong with that, but if you want to preserve what you have, you can do that as well until the hair grows back. So I have a lot of things to share with you that I've experimented with. And so I want to go ahead and get started now. The first thing that you should know, well, actually I'm going to start with the most simple thing that you can do, or the simplest thing you can do, and then we're going to work up from there. So the most basic thing you can start with that you need to do is to wear your hair up somehow, whether it's in a braid or in a bun, a ponytail, though I don't recommend a ponytail as much because it's going to still be loose and flying around. So you want to protect this hair as much as possible, especially when you're sleeping, but I have more on that area as well. So starting with keeping the hair up. The second thing you can do, the most simple thing, this is a boar's hair bristle brush or a comb. You want to spend 5 minutes a day, at least 3 to 4 times a week, and set a timer for 5 minutes. And you want to vigorously brush that scalp. Not so much the hair, because again, we're trying to protect it. We don't want to do anything that's going to pull or break it. So you're just going to gently, but make sure it's stimulating the scalp, getting good healthy blood flow going. And the next thing, this is one, now you can do a combination of all of these things, or you can just pick a few depending on what caused your hair loss. And we're all different, so some of these may work for you, they may not work for you. I found that some work better than others. And one of them that I like is get a spray bottle and fill it with water, and you can use either mint or rosemary, and there are a couple other essential oils. Make sure that it is organic, essential. And you're going to put it in this bottle, and you're going to spray the top of your head or wherever you're experiencing hair loss. Just give it a good saturation, and do this 3 to 4 times a week as well. And the next thing I have, mustard, raw, make sure that it is cold pressed mustard seed oil. And the best brand, I've tried a couple different brands, and I find a brand called Tez. You can find it on Amazon. Tez is the best, and you want to find an application bottle. This is actually an old sriracha bottle that I'm using. And you're going to put this oil in here, and I love the smell of this. If you don't like the smell of mustard, you may not like this so much, but I find it very relaxing. So you're going to put this, and you're just going to section off areas of your hair, and you're going to put this all over the entire scalp, and you're going to give it a good massage. Now, you do not want to work this oil through the rest of your hair because it's already fragile, and this is a very thick, heavy oil. And I didn't know. Again, these are all things that I experimented with. I started trying to work it through my hair, but it's just too thick and heavy, and it caused tangles. It caused me to lose more hair, more breakage and damage. So only put this on the scalp. Another thing I love about this mustard oil, when I was researching, this is also great for massage. Like if you get a massage, have it, your masseuse put it on your skin. Once you get this on your scalp, you're going to notice a warmth and a tingling sensation that feels really nice. You're going to want to put a plastic bag on your head and leave it for at least 30 minutes. Now, if you want to, on the rest of that hair, this is just an option, you don't have to, you could use something like cold pressed coconut oil or almond oil, carrier oil, something like that. Again, make sure it is cold pressed, otherwise you're just putting garbage. It's not going to help your hair, and it's definitely not going to help the scalp as well, because we want to stimulate new hair growth, but we also want to make sure we keep that scalp good and clean and healthy. So after 30 minutes, you're going to rinse this off, or I'm sorry, you're going to wash it off. You're not going to rinse, because again, as I said, it's a very heavy, thick oil. And I actually recommended this. My neighbor had chemotherapy, and she was asking me about this stuff. And she had chemotherapy twice in a year, and both times her hair grew back faster than mine. That's how toxic this water is out here. It's disgusting. Okay, and so the next thing I have for you, this is called a Derma Roller, and this is actually something that you use on your face. It's also known as microneedling. But instead of the face, you're going to use it on the scalp. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because I found the perfect video for you to watch. And I'm going to link everything that I'm talking about below so you can find all the information. And she talks about there are certain sizes. You want to make sure you get the appropriate size. And she goes over how to hold the hair when you're doing this as well. But one thing, when you do this, just know it doesn't really hurt. It might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but this was another one that I really liked that I noticed a difference with. But one thing, when you use this the next day, just know your scalp might be a little pink, sort of like a sunburn, and it might be a little tender, but nothing really painful or excruciating. And after you do this, I do not recommend using any oils. Wait a couple days for your scalp to heal before you put this on. You want to do these separately, like one day, one another, but you could follow this after the oil. But you don't want to do this and then put it on your scalp because it would probably burn. Okay, and the next thing I have, depending on what your water is like, but if you're someone who is extremely healthy and you're aware of things, the effects of chloramines and chlorine, and especially fluoride, you probably already have a shower filter. And again, I'm linking a video below, the perfect video I found. The first filter I bought was from Home Depot. I think it's called Sprite. And normally that would be fine. At first it seemed okay, but it didn't last. This is reverse osmosis filters. Like the video link below, there's a man that shows you how to hook up the canister. It's really very simple. And again, depending on how bad your water is, you may not need to go to this extreme, but I had to. So the video shows how to hook up the RO canister. And then these normally last about 6 months. I have to change mine every 3 to 4 months. That's how disgusting this water is. So those are the main things to use to help stimulate and get the hair growth coming back. But there's also a few products I want to discuss with you. So as I mentioned earlier, we want to keep our scalp clean as possible, but you don't want to overdo it. If you're someone that washes their hair like every day, you have got to get out of the habit of doing this. It is not good for the hair. Plus it strips it of its natural oils. And I have 2 particular shampoos that I use. They both happen to be coconut, and that was not that was not by choice. It just happened to be coconut. Starting with this one, Zarin Regimen. And if you buy this, just so you know, so you don't think it's bad, it is a very, I don't know if you can see this, it looks like lotion or cream. It is very thick. But as soon as you put it on your hair and start washing, it lathers right up. And it's very gentle. It smells amazing. The second coconut shampoo is called Hydrate by HBL. Now, just let me warn you about this. When I first got this, I did not like it at all. It's not like regular shampoos. I do love it now. But this one, it's not as thick as the other one. It is a little waterier, but it does not lather up like regular shampoo. And because it is a little bit thick, you kind of have to work it through the hair. Like, you can't just, slap it on like regular shampoo and it slides through the hair. I think there's actual coconut oil in this, but it is so moisturizing. And if you do have dry, brittle hair or breakage like I had, these are two of the best shampoos for you. So just know if you get this, you might need to get used to it, but it is definitely worth it. And two of my favorite conditioners that I'm using right now. This is Moroccan oil. It's called Hydration. And oh my God, the smell of this is one of the most luxurious conditioners I have ever used. And it is just, again, very moisturizing. Like, you just feel it melt into the hair when it's wet as you're putting it on. And if you're using this, I would say leave it 15 to 20 minutes, just doing a deep condition, and then rinse it out. And the second one I use, and this is much lighter, but sometimes I use these together. It is K-Pack Conditioner, and I will put links below to all of these. This is also, it's lighter, but it's still very conditioning. And if you're someone who is in the habit of washing their hair every day or every 2 days, try to go at least 3 to 4 days if you can without washing. But if you absolutely can't, if you have to go somewhere and your hair is looking a little dirty or oily around the scalp, try a dry shampoo. This is a Plump for Joy Bodybuilding Dry Shampoo. I use this from time to time if I'm trying to avoid, but I have to run out somewhere, because sometimes the essential oil might make a little oiler, make your hair oiler around the scalp sooner. But if you spray this on, it will dry that hair up and it'll look like you just washed it, no problem. And by the way, I am not being sponsored by the company of any of these products. And this is for afterwards. You can put this on the hair wet or dry. Sometimes I put it on both. This is Loma Fortifying Reparative Tonic. And this is a very clear, kind of gooey looking. I've tried all different brands, and again, because my hair was very fine and thin, you don't want to put a lot of gooey products on it. But this is light enough that it just kind of smooths out any frizz and makes it feel very soft and easy to detangle. And the very last thing I want to discuss, sleeping. As I had mentioned, you want to keep your hair up in a braid or a ponytail or on top of your head, something that protects the hair at night while you sleep. Something that I found very helpful, not only for my hair, but my face as well. If you're sleeping on cotton pillowcases or synthetic, they can really rough up the hair or mess the hair, especially if you're someone that moves around a lot at night. And the cotton will also absorb the moisture and the products from your face. So it's best to buy either a satin or a silk pillowcase. And it has made a huge difference. Like, if I try to sleep on cotton or anything else, like the next day I can actually feel the difference. I can see the difference. My face feels drier, my hair's ratty. So silk or satin pillowcases. And something else I found recently, they actually make hats for sleeping, which is basically the same idea behind the pillowcase, because the inside of this is you can get silk or satin and just sleep with a hat on. And you can adjust it, but if you do sleep with a hat, just make sure that you don't make it too tight, because again, we're trying to get the blood circulation stimulation going to help the hair grow back faster. And if you're wearing baseball caps or any kind of hats that are tight, or if you tighten this too much around the scalp, it's cutting off the blood circulation. So you want to be careful not to put it too tight. And the last thing I want to share, actually, there's one more thing I had completely forgotten about. I'm still doing research into this, and I found some really interesting studies and videos on people talking about red light therapy, and there's also type of laser therapy that you can do on your scalp for hair loss. And I actually have, this is for the face. It lights up a bunch of red lights. I don't think you can see it, but I'd already had this, but after I discovered that information, I've actually been putting it on top of my head, but I've only been doing this for a very short time. I'm not sure. I can't report back and say how well it's working yet, but this is designed for the face. This is designed for the face, not the head. So if you buy one specifically for your head, most likely it's probably going to be different. But if you do, just do the research. Make sure. There's a lot of crappy red light products out there that are not any good. So this was like one of the top rated. It's by Omnilux, and I said it's for the face. I found out about this through Hot and Flashy, her channel. I think she just turned 60, and she looks like she is in her probably late 30s, maybe early 40s. And I have learned so much from her. I'm so grateful for her channel, and I completely trust her. When I first found her, I was a little skeptical because there's so many channels that just try to make money by, selling products, and they don't back it. They don't believe in the product. They're just doing it for the money. But that's not the case with her. She doesn't need the money. She's very honest, and any products that she has recommended or talked about that I've used was amazing. Like, there hasn't been one yet that I did not like or was disappointed. And she has something called Hair Max. Now, I can't remember if it's also red light or if it's laser, but it looks like a little headband or hairband. It's hard plastic, and you just leave it for a couple seconds and slide it all the way back. So that's going to be my next experiment. I'm going to try to get a hold of one of those and see how it works. But she also shows before and after pictures, and there were some other videos. People were talking about it as well. But I've heard nothing but great things about it, so that's something else you might want to check out. So I know that was a lot of information. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time. I was trying to get through this as quickly as possible. And also, I have not come across any other videos like this that talks about using combinations of things. They might recommend one or two. So if you're somebody that has seen another video similar to mine where somebody's talking about their personal experience or products they've used, please leave a comment below for the rest of us so we can check it out. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me today.